Imagine for a moment if I suggested you might be much nearer to spiritual illumination than you currently perceive. Consider that while your quest has focused on discovering a profound, world-altering revelation, the very traits you've disregarded as common, as difficulties, or even as shortcomings are in fact indicators that your inner awareness is developing with remarkable speed. Drawing from the deep wisdom passed down by Edgar Cayce, it's often the case that individuals drawing near to this state of expanded understanding are entirely unaware of their progress. They might believe they are struggling on their spiritual path. They may perceive themselves as overly emotional, excessively sensitive, or feeling detached from those around them. Yet, what if these very experiences serve as evidence that you are achieving a level of awareness beyond the vast majority of people? This reveals the subtle illusion inherent in the process of awakening. Allow me to impart an insight that profoundly reshaped my understanding of spiritual evolution. In the past year, I navigated what felt like the most challenging chapter of my existence. A pervasive sense of being overwhelmed colored every aspect. I found myself scrutinizing every conviction I held. A feeling of separation from others became a constant presence. Strange, illogical synchronicities began to appear in my life. A feeling of unraveling, of losing my cohesion, began to emerge. Then, a discovery within Cayce's teachings completely paused my thoughts. He described my exact experiences not as signs of collapse, but as clear indicators of spiritual awakening. He referred to this as the grand illusion of awakening. It was how expanding consciousness often masquerades as chaos, confusion, and crisis. You see, we're taught to expect enlightenment as bliss, lasting peace, and all the answers. Yet, Cayce presented an utterly distinct perspective. He showed that true spiritual evolution often feels like losing your mind, your old identity, and your grip on known reality. And that is exactly what should occur. For you cannot become more conscious without realizing how unconscious you've been. It's impossible to truly grasp reality until you first recognize the misconceptions you've been living. You cannot fully step into your authentic self without experiencing a period where your identity feels uncertain. I'm about to reveal the 10 indicators Cayce pinpointed as signals of approaching enlightenment. These are indications that many often misjudge entirely, insights that might illuminate recent experiences in your own journey. Our first topic, profound sensitivity. Let me begin with this initial sign. I encourage you to listen closely, as this particular phenomenon could be unfolding within you at this very moment. Have you become aware of an amplified responsiveness to all things? This isn't solely emotional, though emotions certainly play a role, but also a heightened awareness of large groups, the auras of individuals, dramatic tension in films, the pain of fellow beings, and even the nourishment you consume. Many perceive this heightened sensitivity as a disadvantage. They interpret it as a sign of weakness, making them too delicate for the realities of life. Individuals often attempt to strengthen their defenses, to grow a more impenetrable exterior, hoping to diminish their emotional reactions. However, from Cayce's perspective, this increased responsiveness is in fact your awareness stretching past its former limits. Consider it from this angle. Envision your perception as a radio set, once capable of tuning into only a handful of channels. Abruptly, it begins to register transmissions from countless frequencies simultaneously. The resulting interference, the sense of being inundated, the disorientation. These do not indicate a malfunction in the receiver. Instead, they signify its evolution into something more potent, more perceptive, better equipped to access wavelengths that have always existed yet were previously inaccessible. When you grow more attuned to energies, to feelings, to the delicate resonances emanating from individuals and environments, you are not diminishing your strength. You are awakening your intuitive abilities. You are cultivating the capacity to sense the unseen aspects of existence that remain entirely unperceived by the majority. However, this presents a significant hurdle. No one instructs us on how to journey through this unfolding. It is seldom explained that an increase in sensitivity actually signifies a growing spiritual strength. Consequently, we endure these feelings, convinced there's an issue with us, when in reality, everything is unfolding precisely as it should. This marks a second awakening, a period where every assumption is scrutinized. This particular indicator can provoke a profound sense of apprehension. You begin to scrutinize every conviction you've ever held. This extends to your spiritual beliefs, your professional path, your connections with others, your life's decisions, and even the very essence of who you perceive yourself to be. A sense of certainty diminishes, and all foundations seem less firm. Should you find yourself experiencing this presently, you might perceive it as a form of existential turmoil. Perhaps you're pondering whether you're losing your conviction, your path, or your core understanding of yourself. Yet, consider for a moment that this very process of inquiry might be the most profound and sacred experience a person can undergo. Cayce's wisdom suggested that to truly welcome truth, one must first let go of all that is false. And the sole method to discern what lacks authenticity is through diligent questioning, to illuminate it with the clarity of your expanding consciousness and observe if it still resonates with the individual you are becoming. Many people journey through their entire lives without ever examining the convictions they received from their families, their culture, or their wider society. They often exist as reflections of other people's perceptions about reality. Yet, as your awareness begins to unfold and your inner self starts recalling its true essence, those inherited viewpoints can begin to feel uneasy, much like clothing that no longer fits well. This phase of deep inquiry is not a time of trouble. It is, in fact, a profound unveiling. You're not losing your way. Rather, you're truly discovering yourself. You are uncovering your genuine convictions, separate from what you have been instructed to accept. You are distinguishing your inherent truth from the established patterns you have carried throughout your whole life. This particular process can sometimes bring a feeling of solitude. It might also feel daunting because, quite suddenly, you're no longer simply moving with the collective current. You're choosing not to embrace things merely because they are widely accepted by everyone else. You are cultivating a unique bond with truth, forging your personal comprehension of existence, and establishing your own direct link to the sacred. Which leads us now to consider the third indication. You notice a profound desire for quiet time, unlike anything you've experienced previously. This isn't born from sadness or dislike of others, but rather from a deep need for room to absorb and integrate the shifts occurring within your being. A gentle stillness is required for you to truly listen to the fresh inner guidance that is beginning to unfold. Such a change can feel disorienting, particularly if you have always been someone who thrives amidst company, constantly enveloped by loved ones. Engaging in superficial conversations may suddenly seem quite draining. Casual interactions might now leave you feeling strangely unfulfilled. You may observe yourself politely, turning down social engagements, preferring to remain in your own sanctuary, and drawn instead to the peace of the natural world and profound quiet. Those close to you could express concern. They might imagine you are retreating, growing distant, or even becoming disconnected from the everyday world. Yet, from Cayce's perspective, this profound pull towards aloneness is in truth your innermost self, diligently carving out the essential room required for a significant inner metamorphosis. Picture it similar to a tiny caterpillar beginning its quiet journey within a protective chrysalis. Externally, one might perceive the caterpillar as concealed, retreating, perhaps even in decline. Yet, within that quiet isolation, a truly remarkable transformation is unfolding. Its former structure is being dismantled as it reconfigures itself into an entirely novel being. Your own desire for quiet time fulfills an identical role. Within that peaceful space, distant from the energies and anticipations of others, your internal compass becomes much more audible. You're able to fully sense the shifts occurring inside you, undisturbed by the clamor of outside views or societal demands. This is not intended as perpetual detachment. Rather, it is a phase of transient reshaping. You are not evolving into an unsociable person. Instead, you're growing more discerning about where you invest your vitality and with whom you entrust your intimate internal journey. Should you have felt this magnetic draw towards quietude, if you found yourself requiring more personal time than common, consider this. This longing for expansiveness could truly be your spirit making, ready for its subsequent stage of unfolding. The fourth awakening unfolds amidst a symphony of synchronicity. This specific indicator often carries an almost mystical sensation. Meaningful connections begin to emerge in every corner. Numerical sequences seem to accompany your journey. Volumes seem to part precisely at the passage meant for you. Discussions unfold, directly addressing inquiries you'd silently posed within your thoughts. Individuals manifest in your experience at the most opportune junctures, carrying the exact message you require. Typically, many dismiss these occurrences as random happenstance, or conversely, become engrossed in attempting to decode their hidden message. Cayce, however, interpreted these synchronicities as proof that one's individual awareness was starting to align with what he referred to as the universal intelligence. This vast intellect that skillfully directs the entirety of creation. With the expansion of your singular consciousness, you begin to perceive the subtle, unseen threads linking every element of existence. You start to discern the underlying structures, the opportune sequencing, and the inherent flawlessness that was perpetually present but previously lay beneath your conscious perception. Synchronicities are not transmissions arriving from beyond yourself. These serve as an indication that your inner and outer worlds are commencing to unify within your awareness. The fifth awakening unfolds as a profound emotional journey. This particular sign may prove to be the most demanding. Your emotions become profoundly intense and quite unpredictable. One moment you might be filled with an inexplicable sense of joy, while the next you could be overcome by a deep sadness that seems to emerge without cause. You may find yourself shedding tears during movies you've seen many times, or experiencing waves of genuine affection for strangers you encounter on the street. This heightened emotional intensity can sometimes make you feel as if you are losing control, as though your stability is being challenged. However, according to Cayce, this is actually your heart chakra beginning to open, allowing your emotional body to expand and accommodate higher frequencies of love and compassion. Reflect on this for a moment. For much of your life, you've been conditioned to suppress your emotions, to exert control over them, and to keep them within socially acceptable limits. As your consciousness evolves, and you become more attuned to the intricate web of existence, your emotional spectrum naturally widens to encompass this heightened perception. This isn't a descent into emotional instability. Rather, it's an ascent into profound emotional authenticity. You're sensing the true profoundness of being human, the vibrancy of existence, and the intricate bond you share with every other living entity on this world. Before we delve into the subsequent indicators, I invite you to gently pause and consider what has been presented thus far. How many of these insights echo with your own recent journey? Have you noticed a heightened sensitivity, a deeper questioning of the familiar, a quiet yearning for solitary moments, an encounter with meaningful coincidences, or perhaps a navigation through emotional tides that feel unfamiliar? If these descriptions resonate within your being, I encourage a meaningful gesture. Please share in the comments below which particular sign resonated most profoundly with you. For this is what has become clear to me. As we openly share these experiences, no longer concealing the strange and beautiful occurrences of spiritual awakening, we come to recognize we are not alone. A whole community is undergoing this very transformation. Encourage comments that resonate deeply. Support one another on this journey, for what I'm about to reveal next may be even harder to accept about yourself. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. We are cultivating a space for those ready to embrace spiritual evolution's beautiful chaos. Your presence here is truly important. Now, on to the sixth awakening, reality glitches. This sixth sign might lead you to question your sanity. You'll start observing what I describe as reality glitches. Time itself may feel altered. You might experience moments akin to déjà vu, yet with heightened intensity. Fleeting glimpses caught at the edge of your vision may vanish when you directly focus. You may find yourself possessing knowledge you never formally acquired, or remembering events that don't quite fit your current life. Many experiencing these occurrences often believe they are facing psychological challenges, perhaps seeking therapy or even medication. Cayce, however, understood these experiences as evidence that consciousness is beginning to transcend the usual limits of linear time and a single life identity. As your awareness gently broadens, you begin to access what mystics term the eternal now, a state where past, present, and future exist concurrently. You start to remember you're more than your current personality, more than your present lifetime, more than your physical body alone. These shifts in reality are not signs of mental illness. They signal mental expansion. Your consciousness is beginning to function beyond the narrow scope of ordinary perception. This is the seventh awakening, the confusion of purpose. This particular sign may be the most disorienting. Perhaps your understanding of life's true purpose begins to fade, becoming entirely indistinct. What once served as your motivation, perhaps career ambitions, social standing, or even material possessions, can now feel surprisingly hollow and without deeper meaning. You might start to ponder, what is the true aim of this all? For what reason am I here? What path should I truly be following in my existence? Such a feeling can be deeply unsettling, particularly if your sense of self has been constructed upon outward successes. It's possible to experience a sensation of being adrift, without a specific cause, as if your time and abilities are being squandered. However, consider for a moment that this very confusion about your direction is, in fact, your soul gently making room for a far more expansive mission. As Cayce taught, with the evolution of consciousness, your soul's genuine purpose begins to manifest. Not the aims that societal norms placed upon you, nor the aspirations your family held for you, but rather the unique objective your soul selected before your arrival into this life. This unique soul's calling is typically so distinct from the path your ego has been chasing that those former objectives must entirely dissipate before this fresh insight can clearly manifest. This feeling of uncertainty isn't an issue demanding a solution. Rather, it's a period of gentle transformation, one that invites your trust. Your deepest self is quietly restructuring your whole existence around a grander purpose, one you may not yet perceive, but which is nonetheless stirring to life deep inside you. This marks the eighth awakening, a powerful surge of intuition. This particular indicator, the eighth, can feel truly extraordinary, almost enchanting. Your innate intuitive capacities experience a sudden and profound amplification. You find yourself possessing knowledge of things without any conscious awareness of how that understanding arrived. You might sense the emotions of others, grasping their feelings even before they voice them. Instinctive feelings or premonitions you experience prove to be remarkably precise. It's even possible you'll begin to experience dreams or waking visions that offer glimpses of what is to come. For many individuals who undergo this intuitive emergence, a sense of fear can arise. This often stems from societal beliefs that label such abilities as either fabricated or perilous. They might attempt to suppress these new sensations, to logically dismiss them, or even to convince themselves that they aren't occurring at all. However, as Cayce suggests, these intuitive faculties are not supernatural in origin. Instead, they are simply inherent human capabilities that have remained latent within the majority of people. As your awareness deepens and the boundaries between your individual consciousness and the collective consciousness begin to gently fade, these inherent capabilities naturally reawaken within you. You are not transforming into something strange or otherworldly. Rather, you are becoming a more complete version of yourself, more profoundly human. You are simply accessing intrinsic potentials that have always been present, yet were often suppressed by a societal framework that prioritized logical reasoning over intuitive insight, analytical thought over direct knowing, and skepticism above trust. The ninth stage of awakening introduces what is known as the compassion overflow. This ninth indicator may prove to be both the most exquisite and the most demanding. You begin to experience a powerful, almost overwhelming sense of empathy for every living creature. It becomes difficult to absorb news broadcasts without feeling a profound sorrow for the suffering prevalent across the globe. You find yourself unable to encounter a person experiencing homelessness without an immediate urge to offer assistance. You may even feel a pang of guilt if you accidentally step on an ant. This profound expansion of your capacity for compassion can, at times, feel incredibly intense and almost unbearable. You might experience emotional responses to circumstances not directly involving you, feeling compelled to alleviate suffering that isn't inherently yours, and harboring a desire to rescue all beings and aspects of existence. Those in your vicinity may suggest you possess excessive sensitivity, advising you to cultivate greater resilience and reminding you that you cannot single-handedly rescue the entire planet. Yet, consider the possibility that your ever-growing empathy is not a flaw to be conquered, but rather an extraordinary ability to be accepted and utilized. Cayce grasped that empathy naturally arises from acknowledging the profound link between all living things. With the broadening of your awareness, as you start to perceive the fundamental unity beneath seemingly distinct forms, you instinctively resonate with the experiences of others. This is because, at its most profound layer, there is no true separation. There exists only a singular awareness, perceiving existence through countless manifestations. Such deep empathy is not intended to engulf you. Instead, its purpose is to reshape you into a soothing and restorative influence upon the world. However, this path necessitates learning how to channel affection and care without exhausting your own energy, discovering how to offer your help without depleting your energy, learning to extend compassion without internalizing the suffering of others. This marks the pinnacle of your awakening, leading us now to the 10th and most deeply significant indicator. You start to embrace what Cayce termed the grand relinquishment. It's a point where you cease efforts to dictate your spiritual growth, instead letting it reveal itself organically. Throughout much of the path we've explored, you likely found yourself contending with these shifts, striving to organize them and endeavoring to comprehend them through logical thought. You've approached this spiritual emergence as an issue to resolve rather than a blessing to welcome. Yet, the 10th sign signifies your ultimate release. It's when you no longer push against your heightened awareness but begin to cherish it. When the fear of inquiries fades and you commence celebrating the journey of discovery. When you cease to struggle with being alone and instead begin to prize the quiet moments. When you move beyond dissecting coincidences and instead learn to flow with their rhythm. This process of surrender is not about becoming unassertive or neglecting the obligations of your existence. Instead, it signifies recognizing the presence of an intelligence far grander than your individual ego, an intelligence meticulously guiding your evolution. This guiding wisdom, moreover, possesses a complete and profound understanding of its purpose. The essence of surrender lies in the moment you grasp that every experience you've encountered, each test, every period of uncertainty, every feeling of being adrift or overburdened, has been precisely orchestrated to break apart your familiar defenses so your genuine essence might come forth. You cease perceiving your inner path as an effort you actively exert, and instead begin to sense it as a journey unfolding organically within you. You transition from being a reluctant subject of enigmatic influences to an eager collaborator in your personal growth. And within this act of yielding, an extraordinary transformation takes place. Disarray begins to align itself into a novel structure, inquiries start to unveil their inherent resolutions. What was once perceived as a weighty sensitivity now transforms into a precious aptitude. Just as dawn breaks after a long period of darkness, clarity often arises from moments of confusion. There is something vital I wish for you to grasp. Should many of these indicators resonate deeply within you, it's not that you're on your way to enlightenment. Rather, you already embody it. You're simply awakening to an inherent truth that has perpetually defined your deepest essence. This state of awareness is not a distant goal, attained only after extensive meditation and profound spiritual disciplines. Instead, it is the profound recognition of your authentic self, existing beneath every layer of conditioning, every lingering fear, and every preconceived notion of who you're meant to be. The qualities I've described are not stages leading to enlightenment. Instead, they are enlightenment itself, expressing through the intricate, sometimes chaotic, human journey of becoming aware while still rooted in a physical existence, all while residing in a world that often seems to remain in a state of slumber. There is nothing broken within you. Your spiritual journey is not a failure. You're not overly delicate, nor excessively swayed by your feelings, nor excessively curious, nor exceptionally unique. What you are experiencing is the process of awakening within a world that has long instructed you to value a state of unconsciousness. You are recollecting your essential being within a world that gains from your lack of remembrance. Should these words deeply resonate, if you perceive your unique path mirrored in these accounts, I invite you to share your insights below. Kindly reveal which indicators have been appearing within your personal existence. Lend encouragement to those navigating comparable journeys. For as we articulate our tales of awakening, and as we make familiar the wondrous uniqueness of spiritual growth, we simplify the path for others to welcome their personal metamorphosis. Express appreciation for the messages that move you. Offer abundant support and upliftment, recognizing that we are all guiding one another towards the core truth of our being. Now, let us consider integration, engaging with your emerging awareness. Yet, here lies the most crucial element. Having now identified these indicators for their authentic meaning, how then do you consciously engage with them? How do you welcome this unfolding rather than holding it back? Initially, refrain from treating your spiritual experiences as ailments. Cease attempting to mend that which is not genuinely fractured. Should feelings of vulnerability emerge, instead of constructing barriers around your emotional core, cultivate the ability to establish energetic parameters while maintaining an accessible heart. When uncertainties surface, rather than hastily seeking resolutions, discover how to reside serenely within the unknown. When the urge for quiet contemplation beckons, instead of compelling yourself into social interactions, respect your intrinsic desire for a hallowed personal sanctuary. Secondly, identify your supportive community. Encircle yourself with individuals who comprehend your experiences, who commend your progression instead of attempting to dissuade you from it. This could involve releasing connections that no longer contribute to your personal development and drawing in fresh bonds that uphold your journey of self-discovery. Thirdly, cultivate routines that foster your ever-broadening awareness. While this could involve mindful contemplation, it doesn't necessitate prolonged periods of motionless quietude. It could manifest as strolls through natural landscapes, engaging in artistic expression, movement, reflective writing, or simply immersing yourself in peaceful reflection. Identify what helps you connect with your deepest insights and firmly establish it as an essential component of your daily existence. And finally, cultivate trust in the unfolding journey. Believe that your inner spirit comprehends its purpose perfectly. Have faith that every event, even the challenging ones, is contributing to your ultimate development. Be certain that you're precisely where you're meant to be on your path, even when it doesn't always feel that way. Living your enlightenment. Now, as we conclude, I invite you to take a gentle breath and truly internalize this profound truth. Your arrival here is not a matter of chance. You are not navigating these occurrences without reason. The indicators of awakening you are observing do not signify any fault within you. You find yourself here because your soul is prepared for the next phase of its advancement. You are perceiving these signs because your awareness is expanding beyond the constraints that have shaped human existence for countless generations. You are an integral part of an immense global awakening currently taking place on our planet. Your personal journey of change is actively aiding in the restoration of our entire world. Each instance of tenderness you experience assists in soothing the widespread insensitivity. Every inquiry you pose helps to dismantle the shared deceptions. Each meaningful coincidence you observe adds threads to the intricate tapestry of unity that binds all living things. Every compassionate tear you let fall irrigates the potential for a world filled with greater affection. You are not excessive. Your sensitivity is not a fault. Your uniqueness is not a burden. You are precisely the essence the world requires at this very moment. Your very existence proves that our understanding can advance, that people can become aware, and that warmth can overcome dread. What you're undergoing isn't a prelude to awakening. They embody the awakening. They represent your sacred essence, revealing itself within your wonderful human journey. They offer evidence that your being is inherently integrated, entirely unblemished, and precisely what you aim to achieve. Thus, discontinue seeking your awakening at some later point. Cease anticipating a dramatic awakening experience. Stop believing you must become more spiritual, purer, or more developed than your current self. You are already awakened. You are already enlightened. You are divine awareness, living a human existence. And every element of your journey is sacred. The only step remaining is to embrace it, to celebrate it, and to share it with the world. My gratitude goes to you for your courage in awakening. Thank you for your willingness to fully feel everything, to question everything, and to transform everything. I thank you for simply being who you are in this precise moment. If this message has helped you recognize your own inherent wisdom, please share it with another who might benefit from seeing their unique path reflected back. Consider subscribing if you wish to continue exploring the beautiful mystery of awakening together. And remember this important truth: you are not evolving towards enlightenment. You are enlightenment itself, gradually recognizing its own essence. The indications have always been visible. Now you understand how to perceive them. Warmth, 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 warmth.